All right, Coach Kammrad, first year at Lewis Central as the head guy, but you've been here several years before. I mean, when you look back at last year, what's your biggest takeaway of what you guys were able to accomplish?
I think the biggest thing for us is just the ability for last year's senior class to really take hold of this program and the tradition that has been laid out for us. We knew we had lost a lot of kids the year prior. Obviously, some very talented kids. Max Duggan, obviously, is the quarterback. And you lose kids of that caliber and that character that have been very successful for you. There's always that sense of there's going to be a drop-off. And us as coaches knew that the talent was still in the room, that we could return back to the state semifinals and hopefully the championship game. It was not letting the kids get that in their head that just because some kids had left the room that we weren't going to be as good. And our senior class took hold of that and really ran with it and lived up to the expectations that we set out and what that standard needs to be to return and to be successful. And so probably most proud of was how our kids responded, how our coaching staff responded to ultimately get back to where we wanted to be and just keep that tradition of Lewis Central football going.
Okay, now looking ahead, obviously you've got a headliner of a talent in Thomas Fidone. I mean, what did he mean to you guys last year? And just, I guess, give me a quick, synopsis of what type of talent he really is.
Right. So obviously as a sophomore for us, we knew that he was going to be successful. We were playing a lot of juniors and seniors, and he was the only sophomore that played for us. And that was because of his talent level and his upside that we knew. And last year, obviously, he was going to be a big part, a focal point of what we were going to do in the passing game. And everyone else knew that. And so we had to find ways to sort of move him around to try to keep defenses from trying to bracket coverage him and double coverage him. And, there was times during games that there was just absolutely no possibility. And so, he had to learn how to grow up real fast on, I may not get the catches, but there's a lot of other things in the football game that I can do. And, we asked him to do a lot of things. We started moving him down to play a little bit of tight end, down in line to block some guys. We started getting into the I formation, which is, we hadn't been in for probably 5 years. And so asking him to do a lot of stuff, put a lot on his plate, he responded very well to it. And, understanding that, the game is evolving and we got to be able to try to do things with him.
Now, you've been around a lot of good players. I mean, how does Thomas stack up both athletically and mentally as far as having that total package that, compared to some guys that you've been around in the past? Yeah,
you talk about the past and you talk about the Lewis Central history. Currently right now we're in a little stretch of where we have, this is the 8th straight year of we having a Division I football player. And that's a tribute to what Coach Duggan had instilled. He did some great things at St. Albert and had Jake Waters and Matt Waters, who were Division I football players. And so that tradition had already started by the time I got here. But you look at the guys that have been the last 2 years and their mental makeup, how tough they are, mentally tough they are. Obviously, they have all bought into the weight room. There's been a big transition over the last 5 years in how we've done things, evolved in the weight room and strength training. And our kids love it. They understand that in order for us to be successful, we have to win there first. It just doesn't happen on the field because we're in 4A football in the largest class, and we were one of the small schools, and we had to do things differently. And so that was a mindset that we took as a coaching staff, was get them into the weight room, to get them to work and compete on a daily basis. And so, a little stretch of being successful, that Thomas really matches all that. He's a kid that, as you talk to him, he played running back and he played quarterback. He got to high school, and then we had a really good quarterback, and we talked to him about making that move and transition, and he was open to it. He's a competitor. He wants to be successful. He wants the ball. And now it's just taking that game to the next level of the little ins and outs. How can I get better at the little things to make myself even better than what I am? And so he has that mindset. He always asks questions. He wants to get better. He believes that he's good, but he knows that he can be better. And so I think when someone becomes complacent, I think it makes it a lot harder, and he's not like that. And that's why he's going to be successful at the next level as well.
Is that probably the area where you think that he could, I guess, have the most growth going forward, is just learning the nuances of the position and continuing to learn the game? Yeah,
most definitely. Right now for us, he was an outside receiver for us, and obviously had to learn to play a little bit of slot last year and play a little bit of tight end. And when he will be allowed to spend 12 months on the game of football and understanding the ins and outs and nuances of what it takes to be successful, he's going to get better. And we here preach to all of our kids, and you look at all of them that have come through, it's multi-sport athletes. We don't get the 12 months of the year to spend with them, and they have all been high-achieving athletes and football players and all other athletics as well. And so when they get that time to really dedicate themselves, it'll be amazing, and we've seen it right now with several of our kids that have already gone on to the next level.
Okay, now he started to pick up his first offers end of September, beginning of October, and now just over a handful of months. I mean, he's pretty much can pick where he wants to go, it seems like. I mean, did you see this kind of blowing up like this, or has it happened even faster than you thought?
I think it's happened faster than any of us really thought. We definitely see the measurables, the intangibles, what he could be, how schools could see him. We knew he could be really successful. We just knew that there were things that we believe that he needs to improve on, which every kid does. But his upside is amazing. For a kid his size, how long he is, how much weight he probably can put on, and where he can play. And there's not many guys around the country that are tight end guys that are of his same athletic ability. Now there's some guys that are bigger, stronger guys that are going to get down line and block, and there's some other guys that are maybe a little bit smaller and agile that can do some things, but he just has the combination of all those aspects that they believe he can be able to come in and move them around and use them how they need.
What's it been like for you and your team to see, all these schools come through, and especially, head coaches, Scott Frost, Harbaugh, Ferentz, all these coaches coming through the program?
Yeah, I think it's been great for our kids because they see that these guys are coming through. They understand that hard work and dedication to the program and commitment. I can be there just like those guys, and that's where Thomas first learned those things. And we talk a lot about our culture and how the older guys come back and how they talk to each other and bring them along. That it's great for those kids, that it's just accelerating our program when there's many kids that want to play college football but don't understand what it takes, and now they have idols and role models right in front of them and on a daily basis to do that. And for me and our coaches, we've been through it, and so it's really hasn't been new to us, as far as the coaches coming in and things like that. It's been almost, this is routine now, and I guess it makes us better coaches too, and we hope it continues. But for us, it allows us to really sort of ask the questions on them. What are they looking for? What do they want? Because it helps us with our other kids on, what do we need to do to help accelerate them? And, I think my ultimate goal is, obviously, as a football coach, is one, to help them academically, but two, make them the best possible person. And if they want to play college football, it's my job to be able to instill those characteristics that they need to play at the next level. And so educating myself and our coaches on, okay, this is what our kids need to continue to work on if we want to help them, try to get college education paid for.
What do you think it would take for a school to sign Thomas Fidone? I mean, how do they have to kind of treat this recruitment? When you have so many options on the table, sometimes you have to do something that stands out. Sometimes, I guess, how is he approaching it?
Right. Yeah, I think the biggest thing probably is going to be the relationship aspect, one. Just from the many conversations we talked about, you're going to spend the next 5 years in one particular room, more than likely, with one position coach, with a head coach, and how you handle that. What is it that you see in them that's going to help you become a better man? And and I think that's number one to him. Number two is probably going to be the resources that school offers, and then three is going to be how the school's going to use him. And where is he going to be best used? He doesn't have any issues. He obviously just wants to play college football. There's some schools that want to play him in line as a tight end. Some want to play him in the backfield. Some want to play him in the slot. Some want to play on the outside. He's never said what particularly he wants, but a kid like that, it's always play receiver. They always want the ball. Receivers want the ball. He'll do whatever, but I think the ones that are going to develop him the most to be the best possible player he can be is what he's going to look for as far as a coaching staff. So I think that's huge to him, because I think every kid when you're younger and he talks about, the dreams of playing college football, he has those aspirations of, well, now if I can do this, why can't I go to the NFL? And he understands that that's a process. There's very few. But if that's going to be my next step, my next goal, well, who's going to help me get there? What's going to be the best possible fit for me to get there? And so, I think there's a lot of factors, but if I had to say those particular three things would be the ones that he's truly looking for in a school to help him.
Okay, now Thomas isn't your only D1 guy. You've got a defensive lineman that's coming up in that 2022 class. Tell me a little bit about him and who he's gotten attention from right now.
Right, yeah, so Hunter Dale, defensive tackle for us. Played a little bit of tight end for us. We'll move to the offensive line just because of how big he is. You know, he's 6'3", about 260. Has a great motor, you know, plays with great leverage for only being a sophomore. Strong physical kid, sort of plays with a mean streak, which is what you need. You know, he plays D-tackle, he plays the nose guard, and many kids don't like playing nose guard because you're going to get doubled a lot. He enjoys it, he loves it, the competition in there, and so he's one that has really flourished. You know, he already a 2-year starter for us as a freshman, you know, and most of the kids that have ever started for us at Lewis Central freshmen have been our Division I football players, and so you look at, you know, Max, you look at Logan, Mitchell Brinkman, who's starting tight end at Northern Illinois, all started for us at freshman, and so it sort of keeps that trend of those guys on being extremely successful. And so currently right now he has an Iowa State offer. Obviously Missouri's very interested in him. Kansas State's very interested in him. You know, and just obviously getting more information about, but having these coaches come in allows us to sort of shine light on him as well as, you know, some of our other guys.
All right, Coach Kammrad, thank you for your time. Good luck next year.
Thank you.